Hello guys, welcome to First Lady Fashion and Style. Thank you for clicking on that channel. If this is your first time on this channel, you're very welcome. You have a lot to learn. Please just check our videos and let us know if you are enjoying the videos so far. And for those that are coming back, thank you for always clicking on that channel. So today we'll be learning a very interesting concept that is trending in our wears today. It's called the bust cage concept. Now the bust cage concept is meant to give the bust area a kind of structure that helps you to kind of fit your dress properly. So for this we'll be needing some materials. Like in one of our videos we drafted a full scale blouse, and I told you that I will be using that pattern to make the bust cage. So from that pattern I have cut out this, the pattern I cut out the pattern and I placed it on a fabric here. I placed it on a fabric. Now if you want to make your bust cage, the cage is done on the lining of the dress, not on the fashion fabric. So this is the fabric, this is what I'm using for the lining. So this is just for one side, and then definitely you will have for the other side, but we are going to use this side for the tutorial. And then this is the lining. Don't forget we are caging the lining, and after caging the lining we will add it to the fabric itself, the fashion fabric. So this is the pattern here, and I'm just going to bring out the pattern for you to see what I have done. So this is my lining here, and on this lining I used my interface on it. So the first interface you need to use is your hairstay. This is the hairstay. It's a kind of soft interface. So the first thing I used was my interface, and then the second one is the peplum stay. This is what they call peplum stay. It's a little bit thicker than the regular interface. So the first thing you do is to apply your regular hairstay and then the peplum stay. That is why it's a little bit hard like this. And then this is my pattern. I placed my pattern on the fabric and I added 1/2 inch round the pattern. So this is one side and this is the other side of the fabric. I did the same thing to the other side of it too. So I'm going to join this together. Definitely, if you don't know how to, I have a video on this channel on how to sew your bust, your cupped bustier, so you can check. It's just the same thing, it's just the caging that is the difference. So, and then for the caging we also need our bone. Now for this caging we have different type of boning. This one here is the one we usually use to add to bone to add structure to the dress. But the one we are going to use for this bust cage is smaller than the regular one. This is like the 7 cm. It's smaller and it's more flexible than the regular one we use. So this is the one we are going to use for this class. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I will go to the sewing machine and then I will join this side and this side together, just the normal way we usually join the bust cage. If you don't know how to join, just check my video on the bustier where I did the sewing tutorial. I showed you how to join. So I'm going to join this now together on the center part here where I have my 1/2 inch allowance here, you can see. So I'm going to place it on this here and I'm going to join the front part. You can see this is the draft here. So the arrow is showing that this is the center of both. So I'm going to just join both together this way, and when I'm done joining we are going to start up with the bust cage. So I'm done with the sewing. This is the back side of it, and I have sewn it on 1/2 inch at the middle, and I've pressed it open. I use my iron to press it open. So what I'm going to do next is this. I'm going to cut off this excess that I have here. I'm going to cut it off because we don't need it. It's going to affect the caging, so we need to cut it off. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, this is the time for you to press that subscribe button. So now you can see that is off now. So I'm going to press it in, and it's time for us now to rule the structure where we are going to have it. The first thing to do is to mark out where I have my 1/2 inch allowance. You know, there is always the sewing allowance. So I'm marking out here the 1/2 inch sewing allowance round it. So I'm not going to sew this area because this is the area I'm going to sew to my fabric. I'm going to sew this area to my fabric. So that is the first thing we will do. So that's the 1/2 inch allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to curve it. Make sure that all the lines you have, they are curvy. So the first one, I'm going to come from here and I'm going to do this and come down this way, so that by the time I add my bone, you can see that the line is curved. The second one is this. Make sure that it passes through the bust point. This is the bust point here. Make sure that the second one passes through the bust point. Now you can decide to have as many lines as you want. You can decide to have another one here. You can decide to have another one here. But these ones are the important ones, and I think this one will give you a good outcome. So the next thing I'm going to do is on this side here, I'm also going to have another one here. You can see the way I'm doing it. And then I'm going to have another one here. So that will be all we are going to draw for our caging. So you can see this is how you're going to draw the lines. And then the next thing for us to do is to start sewing the bone channels. We don't need this pattern again. So the technique of sewing the bone channel is this. I'm going to start from this place here and I'm going to sew it all the way to this end here where I have my marking, and when I'm done, I'm going to cut it off. Mind you, when you are sewing here, I'm going to sew just the top part. I'm going to sew just the top part this way. I'm going to put it this way, and I'm going to sew just the upper part here. I'm not going to sew the lower side here because I'm still going to tuck in some bones here. So I'm going to put it here and just sew the upper part, leaving this place open. So let me sew it and show you what next. So I'm done with the first line, and I want to show you here is still open. I did not sew this side, so this way I'm going to put my bone. So you have to work on it, be very careful. So the next thing is this. This is the next. You can see the bone here. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to stuck it in here. I'm going to stick it here, and I'm going to sew round this way. And then when I get to this point down here, this point where I have, I'm going to take in a little bit, like 0.5. I'm going to squeeze it in a little bit here and squeeze it in a little bit on this other side too, just a little bit on both sides, and I'm going to continue sewing to this place. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to sew it this way. Still on the edge, this way. And then when you get to this point here, just give it a little bit of squeeze, just a little, not too much please, because if it's too much it's going to affect it. Okay, so right now we are done with this part here. You can see that the cup is already coming out. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick this here to the center here, this way, where I have the joining, and it's going to lay on this place to the bottom side. So I can cut it, since I know that this is where this is going to get to. I can just cut it out and then put it this way. I told you will leave a space here to stick it in, and then it will go this way and then to this place here. Okay, so you see, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew it down the middle part here. Okay, so that is for the middle part. So the other one we are going to do now is I'm going to stick it to this place here, and then I'm going to push it in and allow it to curve to this part here. So make sure that your bone, make sure that you have a curve. If the curve is not properly done, you can leave your marking and make sure that you follow the curve of the bone this way. So you can see I already have it curved here. So I'm going to sew it down this way, following my line to this place, and I'm going to sew the last one too. So right now I'm done with the ones on this side. So the next thing to do is just to put it in and fix the one here and fix the one here. So right now we are done with the caging. You can see all the lines. And then when you are done, make sure that you use your machine to fill up the spaces that we opened earlier to put our bone. Make sure you put everything, and see the structure is looking nice. This is the other side, looking nice. So the next thing you're going to do now, since you want to attach it to your fabric, you are going to open up this part here. You will open it up and remove the hard stay. Yes, you remove the hard stay this way. From that 1/2 inch, you will remove the hard stay and cut it off, because if you leave it here, you will not be able to attach it to your dress properly. So we are going to remove this and we are going to cut this place off. So by the time you cut it off this way, you'll be able to, yes, you'll be able to attach this part to your fabric. Now let me show you, for those that don't understand what this bust cage is meant for. I made a tutorial with this. If you check my video, I made a tutorial, a full tutorial on how to sew this. I did the cutting and I did the sewing. So if you want to use for this project now, we did not use the bust cage. We only padded. We only did the padding with the wadding. You can see it is soft, but it still has the structure. So the bust cage gives it a kind of a stronger structure. You can see stronger. So if you are going to use it for this project, the front part will still be the same thing. All you need to do is, where you have the lining here, you can see I joined the cup for the lining. This is what you are going to join to this part. And when you join it to this part, it's going to come out the same way, see? But this time around, it's going to be with a harder structure. So for those that don't understand what we do with the bust cage, this is what we do with the bust cage. Instead of having the regular wadding stay here for your lining, this is what you are going to attach now to the lining, and it's going to give the dress a stronger structure. It's not the same measurement, that's why it's not fitting in. This is bigger than this bust, so I'm just bringing this to illustrate, so that for those that don't know what we do with the bust cage, so that's what we do with the bust cage. You will just attach, you remove this, and then you would attach it to your fabric, and you would have a stronger, instead of this soft structure, the bust cage will make it come out stronger. So that will be all. You can see it's very easy for you to make your bust cage. Just follow this method and you will get a beautiful outcome. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and see you on the next video. Bye.